Good morning. Well, we live in Canada, a presumed heaven on earth where men and women are treated equally. Or so it is said. But is it really so? If it was really so, we would not have heard of human trafficking. We would not have heard of the native Canadian women being raped, murdered, and then just disappeared from this planet. We would not have been concerned with the rising sexploitation, sex texting, pedophilia, and the like. I was shocked to learn that in the Canadian universities and the colleges, the situation is worsening every day. Would you believe if I was to tell you that 44% of the women students, 44% of the students studying in the diverse colleges and the universities in Canada are and have been victims of sexual exploitation, sexual harassment, sexual touching, indecent behavior. 44% is a huge number. There are 700 cases registered of sexual assault and rape. Why? And yet, there's a cone of silence enveloping this huge problem, which problem should be deemed to be a national nature. It's national imperative to protect the vulnerable women. And yet, I do not hear a sound of it in the hallowed halls and the precincts of the parliament, either provincially or nationally. Have we written of these students? And 44% women who receive this treatment in the hands of teachers and the students combined, they have nowhere to go. So either they suffer the humiliation or adopt the easy way out, find some sugar daddy who will finance them and also help them if need is there. What a travesty of morality and justice. In Ryerson University, for example, there have been over 60 cases. Do we deem our hallowed halls, our sacred institutions, our much vaunted temples of learning to be the breeding ground of the sexual activity? I have no problem with the sexual activity if it's consensual. I have issues with the forced one, with the assault one, or with the aggressive one, with the one that is unwanted sex, undemanded, unwanted, hateful sex. It's an invasion of the body of the women that is condemnable. And yet not a single politician, not a single, has come out vocally. When CBC investigation was reported, there was a dignified silence. I feel reversed, annoyed, angry. Do you? You should. Maybe your daughter, maybe your sister is one of the victims, and you are keeping quiet. Have you lost all sense of decency and human dignity? Have you lost all sense of proportion? That's what I ask the community today. Now, and then the fact is, if 44% are known, the unknown number may be much bigger. The common presumption is that only 10% cases are reported, rest go unreported. And why? The fear of the society, the fear of the condemnation. A girl who is raped would be blamed rather than the rapist. That is the human stupidity, I'll call it. I will not it human incapability. You blame the victim. As I was saying yesterday, when a theft takes place, the thief is not blamed. The housekeeper is blamed. He did not take proper precaution. He did not put the jewelry and the cash in the locker. He did not put it under surveillance. All those talks which have no meaning except to presume that the victim is a guilty party, and here in the case of sexual assault, the victim is clearly not a party because the victim belongs to that section of society which is vulnerable. Whatever we may talk of the Durga Shakti, the women power, the fact remains that physically women are at the receiving end. They have been exploited over the centuries, and today even they continue to be exploited. Well, it becomes all the more alarming and shocking when it happens in the halls of learning. It becomes all the more troublesome when the academia is burdened with it. You would say, well, academia is a part of the social life. You can't divorce them. Yes, you cannot. But you can take preventive steps to make them, these colleges and universities, to be the examples where the society should lead towards. Rather than there being a reflective index, let them be the guiding lighthouses. And then, it's not only the students who do it, the teachers are no less guilty. The management, the proctorial staff, they are equally at fault, if not directly, at least indirectly by keeping quiet. CBC says that many colleges and universities refuse to reveal the figures. It is because they know that they are guilty. And silence is the best way to ward off unwanted inquiry. Now compare it with the law and order situation. Just last week, a person in Stanford University was sent to 6 months jail for this very crime of sexually assaulting a woman student. Would it happen in Canada? You can be sure it would not happen. Here the system is so lax that the culprit receives just a slap on the wrist. One of the psychologists and the case workers concerned with the correctional services and the law and order system was telling me that in Canada, what would happen will take a couple of years for the case to reach the court. And then in 90% cases, there will be a plea bargain. That is, say in case it's a rape, or in case it's a sexual assault, it will be treated as misdemeanor. And since the case has been there for such a long time, the accused will be given the credit and let off. That happens in majority of the cases. Then in some cases, they might be given the house arrest. And in other cases, they might be given probation. And that's all. It's only in the rarest of the rare cases where the rape has resulted in death or in an injury beyond recovery that something really serious note is taken. Otherwise, it's treated as a very light thing, as a very common thing, as a thing which can be safely ignored. And there's These law and order authorities simply ignore the psychological trauma apart from the physical one. Physically, they have been violated. Physically, there has been aggression against the person. But look at the psychological trauma that these victims are undergoing. Look at the bullying aspect that these victims undergo. Look at the constant fear in which they are enveloped throughout their life. So this is a compendium of issues. A, why this atmosphere in the schools and the colleges and the universities? B, why we don't talk about it? C, why the law and order and the justice system is so weak that the guilty are not punished? Why is it the perpetrators have no fear at all of the crime and the punishment that is and should be there, but is not there? Is it because we feel that the persons who have committed the crime, they always take the issue, kids can do it. It is a psychological issue with them. Well, let's not talk about it. It has happened and the man says that it will never happen again, so let's give him a second chance. All those issues are absolutely unacceptable until and unless we take measures to ensure the safety and the safety of the integrity of women. This thing would continue unabated. I was talking to a friend about this a few days back, and his remarks really riled me. He said, look here, girls are always willing to go with you, and when they are caught, they raise a hue and cry. There can be nothing more stupid than that, I told him. And I'm telling you, no girl ever wants to be violated. And if she wants to have sex, she will not say that she has been forced to undergo that. She'll rather keep quiet about it. Even when they are victims, they keep quiet about it. Why should she talk about her consensual sex? This is sheer inane perception that has been propagated to protect the criminals. And the people in authority are guilty of hiding the facts, hiding the reality. I mean, just imagine when CBC is conducting this investigation, the universities and the colleges refuse to cooperate with it. And you can be sure whatever information they have given has been watered down. It must have been watered down, only those cases which came to their knowledge but were not followed up, or the cases which were reported to the police, and other cases which they were aware of, where the knowledge came but there was no written follow-up. Then they kept quiet about it. Why? And then the common plea is, why rake in muck? My question is to those people, why not? How can you keep pushing muck under the carpet? How long would you keep on protecting the wrongdoer? And still you say that this is a heaven on earth? And still you say this is the best country? And still this is where you say that the temples of education and learning are sacrosanct and sacred? Sometimes I do wish that the people do open their eyes. Sometimes I do wish that the parliamentarians whom we elect as representatives use something called in their brains called the grey matter, rather than just follow the orders of the authorities or their seniors. Sometimes I do wish that the people wake up to their rights and to realize the facts of life. Sometimes I do wish that the people behave as human beings rather than as dumb, driven cattle. Sometimes I do wish that you wake up. And if you wake up, maybe something would happen. If you do not wake up, nothing is going to happen. This is a shame, and show that this shame continues no longer and it comes to an end. Thank you.